Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our Swift programming tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at enumerations in Swift. Now, what exactly are enumerations? Well, enumerations are essentially a way for us to create constants of sorts instead of putting in hard-coded values everywhere in our code. So, for example, you might have a logger library, and this library allows you to print logs to the console at different levels, such as info, warning, danger, and debug. Well, to do that, generally they'll use what's called an enumeration. Instead of having, say, 1, 2, 3, or 4 everywhere where you want to use a log level, which you could do, we could use an enumeration to represent the log level, for example, or a specific range of a credit score, or something like that. So, how do we create an enumeration? Well, you can create a new Swift file. So, select your project in the project window, and then do Command N for a new file, and select Swift file. Give it a name, and hit Create, and you'll be presented with this sort of blank file. Now, I've named mine loglevel.swift, so our enumeration will be called loglevel. All right, and we create an enumeration like this: enum. Oh, I'm not next code. There we go. Enum log level. Do a left curly brace, and that'll open up a body inside of our enumeration with a closing curly brace at the end there. Now, in here, we use the case keyword to define our values inside of our enumeration. So it will be something like case, let's start with info, comma, debug, warning, and danger. So we have a couple different log levels in here now, all of which are cases. We can leave it as is, and that will work, but we can also give them values. So let's say info will be equal to 1. Debug will be 2. Warning will be 3. Will be 4. Now, you can see we get an error. Why is this? Well, that's because what we're defining here, when we say equals 1, 2, 3, or 4, or whatever, is we're defining what's called a raw value. And if we want to define a raw value for our enumeration cases, it has to be given the type that we want to make our raw value. And we can do this in our enumeration declaration. So right after our log level, the name of our enumeration, but before our opening curly brace, after the last letter, we do a colon, space, and then we define what type we want the raw value to be. In this case, it's going to be an int. Now, you could have it be a string, you could have it be a character, you could have it be really whatever you need it to be, but in this case, it's going to be an int, right? So, generally, I would keep it to the primitives. Bools probably aren't a good idea for raw values, although you technically probably could. But I would generally keep it to something like an int or a string value, because those are the most useful. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back to our main file. So go to your navigator, project navigator. We want main.swift. Okay, there we go. Now, inside of our main Swift, we are going to create a variable that stores a value from our enumeration. There are two ways that we can do this, and therefore two different syntactic ways we can reference a value from our enumeration. We can give it a type annotation, or we can also not give it a type annotation, right? So var, let's say level. Let's give it a type annotation. So colon log level equals. Now, one way you could give it the value is by saying log level dot, let's say, info. Yeah, and that works fine. All right, so let's go ahead and print level dot raw value. If we print this and run it, you can see we get the raw value printed for the info, case, which is 1. All right. But when we give it a type annotation, when we give our variable a type annotation of our enum, we can omit the name of the enumeration. Now, we can do this because after we gave it a type annotation, it already knows that we want to assign a value from our log level. So Swift allows us to do .info or .debug or whatever the case is in your enumeration, which is really useful. It's really helpful with shorthand coding. Makes your coding a lot quicker and easier to read. Whereas if you're using something like Java or C# or C++ or something like that, they don't give you this kind of syntax. You have to use the name of the enum dot whatever your constant name is. And if we run this, that works. However, if we get rid of our type annotation, and we just have var level equals .info, it's not going to know what .info is. It's not going to know where it came from. So in this case, if you don't provide it a type annotation, you must say log level .info. You must give it you must say the name of your enumeration dot whatever your case is. If we run this now, you can see that works as well. Right. So, to recap, an enumeration is essentially some constants that allow you to replace any hard-coded values for options in your code to make your code more readable, more maintainable, and just overall easier to work with. You can also assign your enumeration cases raw values, but you must specify in the enumeration declaration what type you want to use for your raw value. And again, I recommend integers and strings because those are the most useful and most common things to use. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.